Y'all need to know that this podcast is pissing me off every week.
What happened, buddy?
Because we'll be going on, somebody will be like, I'm measuring our business by some of the things that people are saying. Check. Dang it. That should be obvious.
Welcome to the Automotive Advantage. Grow your business and get smarter in just 1 hour.
All right. Keith Wilson, who's the outside sales manager for Scoggin Dickey Performance Center, is going to join us today. Unbelievable guest. He serves as the outside sales manager, where he plays a vital role in connecting the company's performance parts and crate engine programs to enthusiasts, shops, and racers across the country. Known for his hands-on approach, Keith travels coast to coast representing Scoggin Dickey Performance Center at major automotive events, races, and trade shows, while also calling directly on performance shops, installers, and builders to help them grow their business with extensive products. His deep technical knowledge, real-world relationships, and passion for motorsports make him one of the most trusted voices in the field when it comes to crate engines, drivetrain solutions, and dealer-level support for the high-performance community. Keith Wilson, welcome to the Automotive Advantage.
Great to be here, guys. Y'all need to know that this podcast is pissing me off every week.
What happened, buddy?
Because we'll be going on, somebody will be like, I'm measuring our business by some of the things that people are saying. Check. Dang it. That should be obvious, So, but I appreciate it. This is a great podcast. It has replaced some other podcasts but anyway, glad to be here.
All right, Joe Rogan, you're out. Automotive Advantage, we're in. All right, without reading this, because I didn't like the intro. Felt a little.
Well, you have a good AI generator. Let me just say that.
Give me the real. Give the listeners what they need to know about this up front, Jamie. Give me an intro.
Keith is a very rare expert in this industry. He's working for one of the top dealers, automotive dealers, that also does performance parts very well. You handle aftermarket lines for multiple manufacturers, but you're on the road, you're out there, you're at shows and events. I'm going to ask you a lot about your rig program. Where are you connecting with customers the best? People are dying to know what shows and events they need to go to. Where's it working for you? And then you're calling on shops. You're going to the shop. You're talking to the people. You've been doing this for a long time, and you know where the industry is winning and where it's really struggling. So we got to capture a lot from you today.
I'll do what I can.
How do you want to be known in the industry right now? What sets you apart, and what's your goal day to day?
Let me answer it this way. I was listening to Nick Saban talk about our sports team and why they were successful one day. And he said it appears that they didn't come with a playbook to play against this team. They have a playbook, and they executed on that playbook. And Scoggin Dickey, your last podcast was Nicky Fowler, legend in the industry. They at our Chevy Performance meeting, they were calling him the Godfather. So we've had some really amazing talent at our place, and we try new things, but we have a playbook, and we know what that is, and we try to refine our execution of that, and the landscape changes a little bit. We had a parts manager this year that had 53 years with us, and they were remarking on what were the big events that were big deals to Scoggin Dickey. One of them was we got a 1-800 number. And so you never know what thing you're going to try or what trend you're going to adopt you're going to look back and go, wow, that was a 1-800 number was a big deal. They instituted a electronic order system because the lady that input it, couldn't put those orders in with General Motors they couldn't read Greg's handwriting, so just for error purposes, you never know what you're going to do in your small business too. That's going to turn out to go, wow, that was a really good move, and we really didn't even know it. So I have no idea what your question was. What was your question? Ask it again. Ask a better question.
He doesn't even like your questions. This is not going off to a good start. Here, I'll try a question. Maybe we have a better thing going here. Scoggin has been kind of a powerhouse in this industry for a long time. And for a lot of established businesses that are winning, it's hard for them to try new things, change things, go to different events. They just feel like, we're doing good, I don't want to experiment anymore, we're done. We talk to a lot of people on this podcast, mainly off of this podcast, who started a shop, had a very successful run up, and have felt very flat or declining for the last decade, maybe. And it seems like they're not applying some of the things that you guys are doing. But it also seems like it'd be very hard for you guys to continue to advance all the time, because you can just do the same thing you did last year and you're still going to make a ton of money, right? So talk to me about that drive and that, like, hey, we're going to keep innovating, we're going to keep trying, we're going to get a 1-800 number, we're going to try QR codes. Okay, those didn't work, but this one did. Like, give me that playbook for Scoggin.
Yeah. Well, our playbook that we are successful, with the most is when we have a supplier that buys in such large quantity that we can buy it from them at a really good price, and that applies to automotive shops or the aftermarket. Not every OE piece can be used in the aftermarket, but there's a lot of them that can. And especially since LS introduction, multi-layer gaskets, front covers, different things, outstanding heads. And then there's some things that we do some adjustments. And then there's some things that we thought, we're going to sell a ton of these, and we're still in inventory in every damn one every year. So we try things. Never be afraid to try some things within reason. We went through the very, things are so electronic. I go to shops, and some of the engine builders, there's several engine builders at this one shop, and they have an account with a company, and each individual engine builder is ordering things off his phone, what he needs for upcoming builds. And so this guy that was the parts guy, that's now displaced him to a more significant role. You've got to look at, as you grow, things are going to change. And we went through the painful process this year. First of all, I went through the painful process. There's computer software that runs dealerships, the car coming in, selling the car, service, parts, everything, cores going back. And we were with CDK, and they crashed for about 2 weeks. And we always said, okay, it's no big deal. We've got several cases of 3-part forms. We'll just go back to the way it was. And I always thought we would do that. No, we're way beyond that. We went through those boxes in like an afternoon. And that cost us, I can't say, but a lot of money. And we had decided to change software before them. And the whole reason we're doing this, and thank God we've been in business with a family for 96 years. And we're a General Motors, Chrysler, Subaru. We sell 200 lines of aftermarket parts. But the one that brought us to the dance is General Motors. And that's where the succession of people that were in charge of the parts, Wendell Fowler, Nikki Fowler, now Crosby Long, and our crew, we see that, the guy that's sitting in Nikki's chair is going back to school to understand AI, to understand how that can, say somebody calls in and they buy a water pump. AI looks at that, the last times we've sold that, and suggests, well, these people bought 13 gallons of antifreeze. These people bought, bought water pump gaskets. They bought a thermostat. They can suggest these, and then we have the parts salesperson, not an order taker. We're trying to train our people to not just process orders, to be a salesman. Do you need gaskets? Do you need a thermostat? So there is some painful things that you are going to need to go through in a business to stay on that edge. And you're going to discover a lot about your business that you're like, oh, why didn't we do this 5 years ago? But you're always going to say that. So anyway, those are some things you need to do. I was listening to the Automotive Authority podcast. Okay, Jamie, you told Justin, you said, hey, what are 10 things that the automotive shop needs to be doing right now? And he's bam, bam, bam. And I thought, okay, this shop is making themselves relevant to the customer. And I thought, oh my God, I've spent the last 2 years, we check the boxes, okay? As you get more successful business, you're gonna draw more talent, okay? The guy that does our IT and the guy that does our social media, do you remember Mexico Racing League?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, those two guys came to us, and we always said, hey, we got a door open. They came to us, and they're doing that. Our engine shop, Nikki, we did a 55,000 square foot warehouse extension. I mean, we were going over the service, we're going out to here, up to the fire code limit, just whatever we could. And I'd been out traveling and came back and it was finished, and saw it just walking through there. And Nikki was back there, and he goes, man, I want to show you something. He goes, this area, I want to have a machine shop someday. It was plumbed and wired. And I was like, well, good luck with that, because I said it to him, good luck with that, because you got to have some people that know how to do it. Well, somebody else's misfortune was our fortune, and we had a very notable super comp, super gas engine builder that was murdered, and all of his people didn't want to move when the shop sold, so they came to us. And I just remember them saying, we want to start a machine shop, and it was right before PRI. Sent a legal pad over there and said, tell me what you need. Because he had already preloaded that, and I'm sure there's a major backstory, but thinking ahead with those things, but what I was thinking on that podcast, let me not get down this squirrel, is I've spent the last 2 years asking myself the question, are we relevant with our suppliers? Because COVID really, if you don't have anything on the shelf, you can't sell it, okay? I pulled up to a shop in Houston, and they sold the heck out of Gen 5 and Gen 6 Camaro accessories. They sold so many Heritage grills that when GM decided to discontinue it, we went to GM and said, can you ask that manufacturer to do another run and we'll buy every one of them? They did, but we had a relationship with that manufacturer, and that bought us some time to figure out what we needed to do. And I pulled up to that shop and I was like, wow, we're really down. And it just hit me. Well, hell, we hadn't had a Camaro in forever. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to thank some people at GM. I was specifically thinking about Tom Peters. Set up Tom Peters for me. Yeah, he's just an incredible designer, legendary designer for Corvettes and Camaros and all that. And I was at HPX, and I was catching up with his daughter, Adrian, and I said, hey, Tom, I always wanted to thank you for the vehicles that you produce, because that has put food on my family's plates. And, we don't have those. So, things change, and you need to think about, am I just building Chevrolet transmissions, or do I need to get educated on the Chrysler transmissions or the Ford transmissions or whatever? Or, you've got to diversify to some degree, because you never know. We're not smart enough to really have a crystal ball to know that COVID's coming and all that, So being relevant to your suppliers, do you even, you talked a little bit about private equity. Do you even know your rep for these big companies? Because there's someday that you may need a favor. Are you as a supplier, or you have a business, are you doing things for the people that that buy a lot from you? Hey, we're selling a lot of this part number. I don't see that you bought any of these part numbers. You probably need to think about buying this part number, So anyway, that's probably said too much about our paid playbook.
No, I think it's great. I think back to when I started in the industry and went to my first shop, and we had never gone to a trade show or anything. And you think that the game is, oh, we just get a certain product and we sell it and then we're good. And then after selling 0 of those things, we realized, oh, the game is you have to know the person at the place you're buying it from. Yep. And you have to get margin, and you have to understand what's coming next and what's hot. And I think you, of all people that we've had on, can talk to how important those personal relationships are. You're going to a lot of events, you're talking to customers and being like, okay, that's what we need. But then you're talking to suppliers too and being like, what are you guys seeing? What are you guys doing? And I think a lot of people in this industry, for whatever reason, are kind of antisocial people, or they don't want to get out and they don't want to talk too much, and they feel like they're giving away secrets if they're talking about those things. But give me kind of your vibe on just how important it is to communicate face-to-face, or phone calls or emails. Probably more phone calls than face-to-face, I'd imagine. But where are you at on that continuum?
Well, I think that with most of my shops that I walk into, I'm just not doing what I call a howdy call. I have a reason to be there, so I'm not wasting their time when I go in. And I do try to keep up relationships, because you never know where they're going to show up. Talented people will show up probably in that same space at someplace else. This month, I was calling on a shop, and he does business with another shop in that town. And I thought, I don't know that one. So I was going to another shop, and there it was across the street where another shop had been and went somewhere else. I thought, well, okay, when I get finished with here, I'm going to go over here. The players were gone, and there was a mechanic that came up, and I said, well, who are the decision makers here? Oh, this guy. Wait, this guy? And I said his full name. He used to work for another person that we had. I didn't know where he went. Well, our salesman that dealt exclusively with him, I went back and said, hey, here's his information. You need to call him. They're buying from us. So it would seem, and it would appear to you and be intimidating, that it's a big industry. And it is. But these trade shows, events, things like that, just if you start out calling them, emailing them about certain things, building a relationship, those can pay off in spades. They're so valuable.
I'm gonna ask the question again, but what's it take to be a good salesman right now in 2025? I think you have made this look easy for years, but talk just if you were coaching your son on how to be a great salesperson, or your daughter, what does it take? What you're pre-calling them, you've prepped them, the handshake, what are the details of being a good salesperson right now?
Most of what I've learned in the industry came from other great people. That have a past life of 18 years selling hip and knee implants, shoulder implants. Man, they taught us, because there's no customer in the world like a doctor that can tear your ass off if you're wrong. Okay. And and that's one thing I was telling, it's no secret, get me back on task, but it's no secret that we've got another small block coming out. And I told the catalog people, the marketing people, the engineering people this week, we have got to be on kill when we come out with this product. We have to know everything. We have to, don't pre-sell it and then it never quite gets out. I think can be 90 days out and be all right, But so what I have learned has come from great people, and basically planning your work and working your plan. Even if you modify that plan a little bit, you will see that over a period of time, you will probably get it pretty right. For instance, trade show season's coming up. That's my bag. So I had a revelation one day that all my data is what people bought from us. Well, wait a minute. Who are we buying from? So I have a list of probably 14 people who we buy from and they buy from us. Okay? Big manufacturers. And we will have a meeting this next week, and we will put a name on somebody that's a CMAR, PRI, or probably HPX next year when it rolls around, to go and see those people, make sure we're getting the best deal. And you don't know. So Nikki and Kurt Urban were walking to somewhere, and I wanted to go tag along, and they said, well, we need to go over here to this dry sump tank manufacturer, because they have one that really is going to be what we're going to use in the factory stock cars. Okay. So we go over there, and Nikki was saying, they just don't give us the best deal. It's not, we don't get a great deal from them. So somebody at the trade show that was one of their salesmen was listening, and he stepped forward and he said, well, why don't you buy from us? And Nikki said, we just don't get a great deal. And he goes, well, if you put it on your website, we can go here. Done. We didn't know, and the salesman that has our account, I never knew that. Nobody ever knew that. So going in and just being honest, if you say you're going to do something, do it to the best of, you're probably not going to be able to do everything. Just be honest in your work. And you don't know if this guy is starting out here that's little is going to have an amazing volume of business, so treat everyone like they could really be a great customer someday, or they are, and just keep coming back, be friendly, try to help people, but yeah.
I mean, I think there are some amazing points in there that might get glossed over, so maybe we should go through them again. I feel like you mentioned setting goals, and I've been to all of the trade shows a million times with a million different people. Most of the goals are like, what bar are we going to? When's the VIP thing? Blah, blah, blah. We're going to I got to check out that new blower for my car, right? Some race car you're never going to build. Yeah. Like having tangible...
For 6 years.
Yeah, you're never going to do it. Yeah. Having tangible, real goals where it's like, hey, we need 3 new international accounts, 5 mid-size accounts, and 2 flyers. Let's just take a chance on them, something like that. Is that what you guys are doing every show, every quarter? Are you thinking about it that detailed, or is it, give me kind of your vibe on that?
Yeah, we look at, so I was doing all of the road shows and the trade shows, and I came back to, in between Christmas and New Year's, I would go to the office, run sales reports, the year ends that really looked at what we did over year. And I would like, oh God, I haven't been at that. They were wanting to sell their business. Do I even know if there's a new person there? And we would go to a show and get back and follow up and then plan for a show and would have a few days to call on local customers. And I went to Nikki and I said, hey, this has got to change. And we had hired Warren, who's absolutely fearless young man. I can send him like, they tore our salesman's ass off on the phone and it just really, we couldn't get a break. Would you go call him? The guys, yeah. You know? So I had a great guy, Warren Eckery. And Nikki goes, okay, well, figure out how you need to do that and let me know. It's like, okay, thanks. You've been doing this for X number of years. And so I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought, Warren's been asking for the trade shows, or had been asking for the road show. He's been with me for 5 years. He knows where we go. He's made relationships with the people at the trade shows. I mean, if trade shows are going to be your, if events are going to be your deal, sometimes you talk to other manufacturers and other people in your area of the business and you say, what's your most successful show? Or better, somebody that has a little bit of different things, so you're not trying to poach their business because they're not going to tell you. Get somebody that's parallel with you and ask them, hey, what are your best shows? Well, what's going on there? Ask them questions. Then if you find that it's a good show, and you just probably been to one in a series, get to know like, Sadie at Good Guys. What's your biggest show? Do you have any dealers there? Keith, there's a really good show and there ain't one dealer that's showing up. Well, I have spent most of my budget changing out Chevrolet Performance logos. So here's about what I can do. What can you do for me? You need to go negotiate. You don't just take the sticker price. And they want people to come to these shows. So you are now working the trade show people and the show people. So, look at, like I said, suppliers, other people in the business, your people that you're selling to. So we sell to some really nice rebuilder shops. Hey, what are your biggest shows that you're selling the most, or where are these customers coming from? Dino's Get Down. Okay. Then we may need to go there, or C10 National. Okay, well, there are going to be 1,000 other guys just like this guy there that may not even know. People don't know. People call me all the time. I just had a guy call me this week. Hey, just want to see if somebody gave me your number, and I just want to see if we could get an account with you. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. What do you do? Small time shop, And I said, yeah, we can. Would you be okay with a credit card account? Absolutely. I don't know where this perception is that the individual buyer can't buy it, but somehow that's been planted in his mind. So anyway.
I want to go real deep into the rig program because it's pretty rare.
Yeah. I'll go test.
No, you're doing great.
And we didn't have a power outage.
Yeah.
We got through it though.
We didn't even have it. It's flawless in here.
It is. Way to go. I'm so proud of you right now. All right. Cost of a rig program. How many events you're going to? How do you staff it? How do you measure a show? And I'm gonna ask the same question. What are your top 5 shows that you according to your ranking? So hit me with the cost of a rig program and why are you even doing this?
Well, there's something to be said for brand promotion and awareness. The guy that they're looking and they're like, who are y'all? Are you Chevrolet Performance? No, Chevrolet Performance doesn't come to this anymore. We're representing them here. We're their number 1 dealer. Okay. Well, I'm over here. We ship around the world every day, man. We can launch an engine out to you. So it's a lot of money. The way we're doing,
figures.
yeah, it can be, depending on what size rig you want to get. We've done it from a 32-foot tag trailer and a dually to a Kenworth toter semi and a Renegade stacker liftgate hauler 40-foot trailer, and taking a 53-foot semi trailer to SEMA and PRI. So there's that scale. So initially, you need to have a staff that can man it, and they can be away from your business, depending on shows, but it's about a week. And once you do some of the things that I said about determining what shows you want to go to, you need to think hard about logistics. Warren and I it was cheaper for us to store the trailer than to drive all the way back to Texas and drive all the way back to Michigan or Chicago or Las Vegas or, wherever. So we find somebody in the industry, store the trailer, fly back. And then we can get back to business. And there's going to be the long haulers and there's going to be the short haulers. There's going to be the guys that are answering the phones that are probably your best technical experts that you want to fly in and do the trade show, and you want to shoot them back out. And then you're going to be the guy that's, eating at Love's, for 2 days on the way back. The way we started was somebody else's misfortune. And Nicky called me into his office and he said, "Hey, GM's going through their bankruptcy, and they had spots already paid for, but they've taken away, as a part of the bankruptcy, they've taken away the rig program. And so they can't show up. They need a dealer to go in those spaces." So we bought the 32-foot bumper pull. In my first event, we pulled it with Marty Morris's 3/4-ton pickup to somewhere. He was like, and his wife was like, "This is his best car, his favorite car. If you wreck it, he's going to kill you." So there was no pressure. But so we start with where you're at. If it's an 8-10 foot, get a pop-up with your logos on it, and don't look like a bunch of dirt bags. Brush your teeth if you're working with. I had to tell a guy, you have a bad breath problem. Oh, I didn't know anything about that. From that day on, he didn't have a bad breath problem. You can't be out partying all night. I'm sorry. Because I've had some young 20s join us at SEMA, and they were going home the day, the middle of the afternoon from the show, and they show up at the booth and they've got slides and basketball shorts on. Send them back to the hotel to change. They did not understand what just the visuals are when people are walking by your booth. At Good Guys one year, we got best outside display, and we take pride in our displays, and signage. People don't know what this is. Give them a sign to help them out, and you've got your talking points right there. But yeah, prep for those. Trade shows are a little different. You got to get to know the trade show. I think they're valid in our business. I've been interested in some of the products from a guy that just brought his pickup and offloaded some stuff and had I think Nikki tells a story about the first PRI. They had a 10-foot table and a tablecloth, or something. And I remember when PRI was in Orlando and we were all shacked up in a Airbnb, and but it may be humble beginnings, and you may not look like Holly or something like that. But start where you can. Take advantage of free stuff at the trade shows. Your first new product is free, or there's digital ads and things like that. So really read the stuff on the trade shows. Get to know your rep. Ask the people. You have people that sell to you and you look and saw that they were on the vendor list. Well, how was it for you? What do I need to know? Where did you stay? Where did you park your trailer? What was tear down and setup like? How can I, again, not pay $500 million in drayage? Is there something that I don't have to have forklift in that I could walk in, and it be just as successful? Do I need experts in the field? We hire a lot of GM engineers to come, and I told the GM people, I said, I want to have some of these guys here. And I said, we're going to have a rented engineer, and we had a guy that was an ex-trucker that just did logistics for us, and it was his retirement job, and he just loved cars. He could fix anything. He was our dude, and he loved it, and he would have gone for nothing probably, but you're going to get the bug, and you're going to be upgrading, longer trailer, nicer trailer, wrapped trailer, dually, and I asked Nikki one day, I said, well, when he said GM's going for their bankruptcy and these rigs have gone away, I said, well, did y'all ever do this? And he said, yeah, we used to do it. And I said, well, why did you quit? And he said, well, we got to the show one day and we looked around and there were no vendors there. So we had to ask the question, do we need to be there? So don't get in love with one show. You need to, there's waves of things. C10 trucks. It's going to probably be your Grand National show at some point in time. I don't know if they made enough of them, but I wish they did. So don't get in love with too many shows.
How do you measure a show? And what are your 5 best shows?
Wow. I wish Warren was here too, but I asked him, what are our best shows that we take our trailer to when we're showing outside. And I would say, God, you're gonna have to rank them. Outside shows, LS Fest and Bowling Green's still really good for our market. Okay, we stay over for the Chrysler, show, and we did stay over for the Ford show there. Your junk's already there. You're probably in the space. That may make it a little easier for you. The C10 national shows for the truck market, it's really hot. I mean, on the way to HPX, I left on Labor Day, Monday, I think it was, and drove to Talladega and did a show in Talladega Speedway. and then packed up on Saturday afternoon, Sunday, drove to HPX, unloaded, and did that show. Warren flew in, drove to Kansas City. You know, you can't afford to take everybody because there's people that have to be at the shop who can even drive out here and help set up. And then this guy that's working the show could drive back, or you need to leave it there. But man, Ellis Fest, C10 Nationals for the other shows. I know Dino's Get Down is fabulous, but they've got other dealers, and we try to play nice at this point in time. And of the trade shows, for us, because we're in the performance and racing, we're not into styling and things like that. PRI is our best show, and we've really got our eye on HPX. From what I saw at HPX, it's coming. I mean, it is in a fabulous place. It is in a fabulous place. Walking distance to downtown Charlotte is just the best for accommodating people and food that doesn't cost $1 bazillion like Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a killer, man. SEMA's still legitimate. That show was on a year-to-year basis for a while. And I was sitting at the marshaling yard, and I'd been there since 11 o'clock in the morning. And these are some of the things you need to think about that you're going to have to go through. And at 4:30, I kept going up and saying, hey, they're going to call me to drive 20 miles back to the convention center. And this lady said, well, I got there at 4:30. And she said, no, they're cutting it off at 5. And if you haven't been called, you're going to have to stay another day. Well, I'd already checked out of my hotel. So I started looking on an app at just a sleep in was $200 and something a night, So you really need to do some math whether you can afford to go to that show. How do we evaluate shows? It's very hard. I have a manufacturer that says, well, how much did you sell at the show? That is the worst metric. I hope it fulfills all fantasies, but I'm sorry, because it might be not a fantasy, it might be a nightmare. But did you have engagement with people who have the ability to buy now or buy later? Is it some shop or some person that you can develop over time? So, I went to a show one time and there was a guy and he said, well, I want this engine. I was like, cool. We'll take your information. It's before we had electronics and could just sell it right there. So we'll take your information. We've got them in stock and we'll get back with you after show. No, I want to buy this one right here. Okay, yeah, we can sell. We can sell you one, but we want to ship it from the dealership. No, I want to buy this one right here. We went over to the engine swap tent, borrowed a cherry picker and put it in the back of his damn pickup. And he brought back a masterpiece, and he was a great customer from then. I just was too stupid to know that he wanted to buy this exact display engine. So take stuff that you can sell like that to the show. I don't have a crystal ball, but it was easy to do business at HPX. Let me just say that. We did some really good business, frankly.
What's your timeline for a show? Meaning, I think a lot of people, we talk about, they want to go to a show and they're like, I didn't sell anything. It's like, okay, well, that's a terrible metric, one. But two, even the first time you meet someone, you're not going to get to know them until the second or third or fourth or 10th time, right? So when Scoggin's looking at a show, are you always thinking 3 years unless it's just obviously terrible? Or like, how long should a person at home give a show before they're like, okay, this isn't for me? I feel like in this industry, we're very quick to judge things, and we're just like, I went once, I hated it, I'm never going back again. What's your kind of vibe on length for building a relationship?
Generally, we're looking at probably 3 years, and we should definitely know. And we want to see some improvement. We want to see some want to see some leads generated that paid off within 3 months to a year. Were we relevant at that show? Did we take the right displays? We need to have some introspection about the show. If it was a total loser, did it rain like hell and it was an outside show, and nobody came, or, whatever. You have to really have a debrief on the show when you get back. Jamie, what was your experience? Who did you talk to? What are the leads? What are the leads you're going to follow up? What is your timeline? What do we need to do? What did they say about our business? Justin, who did you talk to? Who did you engage with? We pay outrageous money for internet, and we have a computer there, and we're logged in. They can buy anything that we have right there, and we can give them, pricing information and all that. Spend the money on that. So that you can be relevant right then and or follow up. And if they didn't hit initially, keep looking for them at other events, and if you have a business card or whatever, that person may have moved to a different role. We'll find out who that new person is at this place, or stay in touch with these people. Hey, did you know that I was thinking about you the other day? We brought on a new product, and this might be relevant to your business. You're in their court. You're trying to help them. You're trying to develop them. Got to stay in touch. You don't want to see them the next year and think, God, coulda, shoulda. And I've done it.
Oh yeah.
But it hurts.
We've all done it. I think the other thing is that it's working the plan part, but also having a plan to begin with, right? And being like, where are we going to put our leads?
Yeah.
Maybe we don't have a CRM. Okay, that's fine. Maybe they're going in an Excel spreadsheet. Yeah. Maybe we're all just going to write them down and hand them to Rick at the end of the day, whatever. Yeah. But if you don't do that, 10 years later, when the guy buys $2 million worth of stuff, it's like, where did this guy even come from? I think we met him at it's like, no, it came from this show, right? And just being able to measure that is so important. I think a lot of the times people take for granted, how did you end up here on this podcast? Like, I met you at probably PRI 30 years ago or something like that, So it's, yeah, exactly. And it's like, it would be so hard to quantify that today, but that is the reality of it, right? And people miss that a lot.
Yeah, and I'm, pre-planning, post follow-up, and I mean, when I leave a show, I'm thinking about what works for us and what's not working, and I learn something at every show, so that what was painful at the previous show is not as painful at the next show if possible. But yeah, LS Fest is still knocking it out of the park. PRI, just because that is a lot of our customer base. And HPX, because I really, we go to SEMA because we do sell into that market, and a lot of people, God dang, a lot of people go. There's a lot of people that aren't buyers there. But I went to HPX because we didn't know, and I just thought about it when we had that. We had some East Coast customers that I don't see that PRI or SEMA, and I need to ask them why they don't come out there. Maybe they're a machining facility that are cranking out a bunch of parts, and they're in freaking Mooresville, that you can't swing a dead cat and not hit somebody that worked in NASCAR building a specialty part. Yeah. And they came to HPX. And I have never met them and they've been buying from us before. I started in 2009. So there's always room to grow. Okay. And we just got a 10 by 10. We've already signed up for a 10 by 20. We'll grow as the show grows if it's worthwhile.
Keith, what's the biggest threat to Scoggin Dickey right now?
I would say supply chain. We're still not out of supply chain disruption. I'm sorry. I've talked to so many customers in this last 10 months that if they're keeping an inventory, they're keeping a just-in-time inventory. The end user people that are building engines, that are building cars, they're not stocking stuff. And I think that's going to be a problem for them, especially if they don't have a supplier near them. We haven't talked to them about how they can buy and use our warehouse basically as their inventory. And that is part of our reason we changed DMSs so that we can integrate B2C and B2B better than we are. And so, shipping is a total bitch. I'm telling you, man. During COVID, you would be shocked at the pile of freight damaged engines that we have. And we have to put money in that. We have time in that. We have a dedicated person that just repairs or determines this engine is not salvageable. He comes to work every day, and that's what he does 5 days a week from 8 to 5.
First of all, that's insane.
Yeah, I'm just...
we gotta stop there for a second. That is insane. But yeah, I think everyone got really spoiled because there was a period of time where just in time, on demand was fine. You could come into a shop. What do you need? Blower? Got it. It'll be here tomorrow. Yep. Got it. Simple. Yep. And then as soon as that started to turn, I think a lot of people are still struggling with that. Mm-hmm. And, I think the smart shops, Vengeance is working on a Grand Sport for me right now. Yep. And Vengeance is a smart shop. So
that is awesome.
Yeah, they were like, do not drop the car off until I have every single part here.
Yes.
Because we've all done this where you drop the car off and months later you're still waiting on.
That's rare though. That's rare.
It was great. He's like, do not drop this car off. Do not even think about it.
Right.
This is your list. We're ordering everything. Probably half of it came from you. And then I'm going to check it. He's got a guy. They go through every box, make sure everything's there, make sure nothing's broken.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We have it. Bring the car, right? And that was such an awesome system. As a customer, it's a great system because I know my car's not just sitting there doing nothing. As a business, it's a great system. But to your point, if you know you're doing a bunch of these, start to inventory some of this stuff, right? Especially if you can. If you can.
Does the business have terms where you don't have to pay for it immediately up front? Will they give you 30 days to pay for it? And then you can get into it and see, did I need to stock 10 or can I just stock 5 of those? And talk to your manufacturer, your supplier. Is there a better way to buy this? Do you have an alternative that's better, that's cheaper, that is the same thing? If I get a charge account, will you do free shipping for me? What is your shipping terms? You've got to run a business. You got to be smart about your business. And a lot of this is teaching people to run a business from people who are running a business, and they're just teaching me a lot. That's why I love the podcast. And we're going to use AI to determine what is moving and what is not. And I think we we will get better. But I think the things that I see at Scoggin Dickey that I think are dangerous are supply, as I said. And we cannot sit on our laurels. You know, we've been the #1 Chevrolet performance dealer for quite some time. But if Chevrolet can't supply the engine, we need to change our knowledge base on other things. And we've had to do that. We have a Chrysler store, so we are becoming experts in Gen 3 Hemi. We have one guy that's absolutely fabulous, and he is an expert. You know, everybody needs to, that touches a customer needs to become a salesman. They don't need to be the order taker. We can automate that in this world. And one thing that I really like is we're communicating with each other. We have a weekly wholesale meeting and we have a weekly performance meeting. What's working? What's not? Did you know there's a rebate coming up? Did you know that we aren't getting that product? So here's the product that we can sell. Just communication within the company. And I think when you empower people to have a voice or, have a good idea, management's not responsible for all the damn good ideas. The guy sitting on the phone, we had a salesman that was selling a collision part, and these people did not buy from us. And he thought, well, what if I did our discount plus 0.01? Started getting orders. He was a salesman, figured it out. And then everybody else figured it out off of what he did.
I mean, people love the AI conversation here, so I think we should dig into that. I mean, immediately, right, an old school sales guy, he's kind of his own, what other parts is this guy going to need AI system, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm sure if I had an AI that could tell me every time someone bought something from Nitrous Outlet, I know they're going to need tires, converter, right? Like, yes. I can kind of like guess into this pretty quickly. And that used to have to be tribal knowledge. Like, okay, I've done enough of these that I know you're going to need a clutch, or I know I'm going to need this. But like, there's probably so many missing things there that you wouldn't even consider. Like, okay, if I buy plugs, I might need wires. Got it. But really, what's the next thing that you're not even thinking about that an AI could be like, hey, every single time they do this, it's a huge signal that they're about to buy a car cover. So it's just some random thing. I don't even know, so.
To look at a customer that you that buys a lot from you, and if you could get AI to say, what are they not buying that other customers of a similar volume are buying that are in the same business? Now you may have to go back and say, these people are in hot rod restoration, this is a machine shop, this is an independent, repair facility. You may have to help it. But how can you leverage that? I mean, unfortunate. My son has taught me a lot about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 29-year-old son. He's not afraid of it. He's going to use it he understands that has to all come through him, and he can say, that's fabricated, that doesn't work, But looking at your particular business, and I can't imagine that there's, I always think a lot about from the transmission shop owner. He's selling he needs to determine, what are you good at? Why are customers coming to you? I wonder if that transmission shop could go on and say, what are other performance transmission shops selling that I'm not selling? You know, what is their pricing? Can you give me a characteristic on how they advertise? Do they do build videos? Do they do promotional videos? Do they do tech videos? You know, how can I leverage that to help me build my business?
Yeah, this is an absolutely huge one that I think everyone should be doing, but you can use ChatGPT, Claude, whatever, for competitive analysis. That's really good. So just like, hey, this is my brand, website, social media, blah, blah, blah. This is who I am competing with, website, social media. Tell me what they're doing better than me and tell me what I'm doing better than them. And it's a great test because it's going to tell you what you're doing better than them. That should feel right to you. If you're like, yeah, my website is better than theirs. That's obvious. My social media is bigger than theirs. Then when it tells you the other side, you should also believe that, even though it's going to be hard to read sometimes, you know. But I think that one's huge. I do think, have you guys heard of the Washington, D.C. Pizza Index?
Yes, it's great.
This is a fascinating deal, but if you haven't heard of it, basically there's a group of people now that track how busy pizza places in Washington, D.C. get at any given time. Because before a major war or sending a bunch of B-52s into another country, everyone has to go to the Pentagon or lock themselves in the office to prep for this thing. And they figured out, what do the interns do? They order pizza for all their bosses.
There's corollaries there.
Exactly.
That you can.
Yeah, so it's like, I wonder, with a powerful enough AI, again, like, how many UPS trucks are going in and out of Nitro Dave's house? And how many 4L60Es do I need to start building? Like, you know, what is this? How can I make this work together? But there's going to be more and more of that type of winning going on, and it's going to be from people that try it.
And, you know, just, again, listen to this podcast because you're very good at that. And what listening to get out of your shell and listen to a podcast on AI and go, that's complete horse shit. I'm not ever going to do that. But whoa, wait a minute, let me go back. Yeah, that could apply to my business. You know, do I know how to do it? I don't know. Can I find a college kid that needs to work part-time and do that for me? That's, you know, an IT or something. You know, Drew Pritchett, Dane Arnold. There were the guys that did Mexico Racing Rally, but they're just techie as hell. And we love them.
Yeah. I guess we need to ask, we got to get him on the road. I think he's probably got a show. He's got to go.
Yeah. I feel like he's late for something. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Where do people find more Keith Wilson? Where can they keep up with you, buddy?
Well, they need to keep up, you know, Scoggin Dickey. You can reach us online at sdparts.com. We have everything on there. We don't ever mind you calling. We have 6 guys that are experts in their field. The numbers are on that website, and the phone numbers are on that website. And come see us at the different shows. Go to on our Facebook, Instagram pages, SD Parts. You know, look us up. We have everything that's going on in the engine shop. When we can find time, we're testing cams and intake manifolds. We have when manufacturers are coming to us and say, hey, y'all know about LT1 engines. Can we bring our air to water intercooler and test it on your engine? Yes. Dane posts those up. You learn a lot on those. And so those formats, give us a call if you need to. Look at our Facebook page, Instagram, X, whatever, and go to sdparts.com if you want to order some parts, or if you see something that I need a little bit of different widget here. Don't be afraid to ask one of our guys. They're real human beings.
I feel like the least likely place to see you would be in Texas, honestly. I've never seen you at Scoggin Dickey, but if I was like, if you said you have to go find Keith Wilson, the last place I would go was to Scoggin Dickey. I'd go find what show's going on, where is he in the world.
Warren travels more than I do, and just with one hotel points place, I'd already logged in, and I don't use them a lot. I was 24 nights out.
by like January 28th, I'd imagine. Yeah. All right. That's the pod.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.